You need to understand that your behaviours are largely controlled by your unconscious mind. As much as 97% of your actions, in fact. What I mean by unconscious is the processes that occur in your brain that are automatic. You don't even know they're happening. But what this means in relation to our behaviours is that we don't really understand what's influencing our perceptions, thoughts, feelings and judgments. And that's for both leadership behaviour and company behaviour. And that's not a great place to start if you want to change those behaviours or make great leadership decisions. How can you possibly control the unconscious, right? There is an answer, and it starts with self-awareness. Let me explain how. Self-awareness is commonly understood as recognising what you're good at, what you're not so good at, and where you're working to improve. It's about having both the confidence to fully own your strengths and the humility to admit that you have room to grow, as everyone does. When we see ourselves clearly, we're more confident and creative. We build stronger relationships and we communicate more effectively. We're less likely to lie, cheat and steal. We're better workers who get more promotions. And we're more effective leaders with more satisfied employees and more profitable companies. But for self-awareness to work, you need to be aware of these three important points that are often overlooked. First, you need to accept that your own self-perception may not align with how others, like direct reports or peers, perceive you. In psychology, this is called the shadow. We all hide, suppress and deny behaviours, and that's normal. Most leaders I work with find that something they consider a strength is often listed as a weakness by others. And it works the other way too. They don't acknowledge the strengths that others can see. That brings me to the second point. Candid feedback is critical for self-awareness. Now, feedback, both giving and receiving, can be difficult, and I've got loads of videos and resources to help specifically with this. In relation to self-awareness, it's important to see critical feedback as a gift, but also to be selective about the feedback that we choose to act upon. Remember, you are not a jukebox. Just because somebody made a request, it doesn't mean you have to play. As a leader, you're in a unique position, and therefore you may want to retain certain behaviours that challenge or make other people uncomfortable. So ask yourself questions like, how does this feedback relate to the kind of leader that I want to be? Lastly, you need to become self-aware of how your actions and behaviours impact others. It's not a quick fix. Instead, it's a continual process of feedback, adjustment, and learning. Small experiments and improvements can compound over time and help you to become a more successful leader. Learn to check in with others and ask how your actions are affecting them. This is an unbelievably useful expertise in building trust. Bearing that in mind, when you embark on this journey of self-awareness, I guarantee you that there will be things that you're doing and not doing that totally surprise you. And that goes back to my earlier point that 97% of our behaviours are unconscious. And that's why true progress can only be made when we get a clear picture of what is in the roots. What that means is understanding where these behaviours might originate. Once we excavate them, we can own them and even bury them and leave them behind as old news. But you must understand what behaviours and actions you demonstrate and where they come from in order to fully benefit from self-awareness and achieve these good things linked to modern leadership that I mentioned earlier. Self-awareness could lead to the discovery of behaviours that you are totally aware that you're doing. It's the stuff that comes up time and time again, but this time you're aware of them and you can't quite seem to break the habit. That, I'm afraid, is also down to your pesky unconscious. Once you become aware of your unconscious mind, you'll start to hear what it's saying to you. So to recap, if you want to permanently change your behaviours for the better, you need to become aware of your unconscious mind and tap into the power of self-awareness. Fortunately, that's exactly what the Fisterra method is. If you want to know more, drop me a message.